Hi, and welcome to the Whimsy Maker video tutorial for how to upcycle a dress shirt into an oversized bow. I'm so excited you're here. Let's jump right in. First, we're going to cut off the sleeves diagonally at the shoulder seam for both sides. There's no need to be precise as we'll even these out later. Next, we're going to cut off both cuffs. Next, we'll grab some scissors and trim up one cuff neatly. We'll set our cuff aside and lay out the back panel of our shirt. Next, we will cut out the bow loop center. I pre-cut an 18 by 18 inch square from paper to use as a template. Now simply press everything flat. Now we will align our sleeve pieces and just trim along the shortest one on the diagonal to even them out. Now fold your bow loop center piece in half with right sides together. Use your sleeve pieces as a guide to cut out a matching piece of polyester batting. Do the same for your 18 by 18 inch square. You can now pause here to see where we will be sewing. I like to use a stitch length of about 2.5. Now flip our sleeves inside out and sew along the long diagonal edge to close. I like to keep about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I'm really not too picky on that. If your edges are not lining up perfectly, don't worry about it. Just use the shortest edge as a guide, as we will trim it up later. Now sew along the 3 open sides of the bow loop center, leaving about a 4-inch gap in the middle so we can turn right side out later. You'll want to backstitch before and after the gap. Now trim down your seam allowances. I'm using pinking shears, but feel free just to use scissors. Be sure to cut the seam allowances on the sleeves as well. Now it's time to insert our batting pieces. While still inside out, you can hold on to the batting while you turn right side out to make it easier. Now to make our corners nice and crisp, use any sort of poking tool to push them out. Now just take a minute to really evenly distribute the polyester batting and make your piece look really even. Now repeat for the second side. If there's any batting sticking out, simply just trim that away. Now to fill the bow loop center. For this piece, I like to turn right side out first. I'll then fold my batting in half and roll it up to make it easier to insert into the bow loop center. I'm going to spend a minute here unrolling the batting and really trying to evenly distribute it, poking out my corners in this as well. Now we are going to take some pins or clips, close up that opening, pin them in place, and take it over to the sewing machine. Now we are going to top stitch all the way around the bow loop center to close the opening and give it a finished look. I like to use a stitch length of about 4 for this. Once our top stitching's all done, it's time to grab our sleeve tail pieces. We're going to line these up and just sew along the short end to sew these together. Remember to put your stitch length back down to about 2.5 to make sure it's nice and secure. We're almost done. Now align your bow loop center and your sleeve tail pieces. Scrunch at the center and secure with an elastic or hairband. Now this is where we use the cuff piece that we trimmed up. Simply button it around the center of your bow. You can end like this if you like the look, or you can move on to the next step where we take any excess fabric from the cuff piece and just simply glue it to give it a nice tight finished look. Congratulations, you just upcycled a dress shirt into a beautiful oversized bow.